Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Rabbi.
We're not too far away from Rosh Hashana, actually very, very close. So we'll talk about something that has to do with Rosh Hashana. So there are different verses in the Torah that tell us about the sounding of the shofar. There's also a clear pasuk that says it a little more specific in Tehillim, in the Psalms. It says in Tehillim in chapter 81, verse 4, Tiku b'chodesh shofar, you should sound in the month the shofar, by Kesa, which month? By Kesa liyim chagenu, when it's concealed. So most holidays, the holiday is in the middle of the month, so the moon is not concealed. The moon is actually, it's a full moon. But here you sound the shofar when the moon is concealed, beginning of the month. So we know that that's referring to the holiday we have, this is the beginning of the month, which is Rosh Hashana. Okay. The Baal Shem Tov brings a parable. The great Hasidic master, the Baal Shem Tov, brings a parable. What is the meaning? What is the idea? What does it represent? The whole idea of the sounding of the shofar on Rosh Hashana. There was a son of a king that was ended up in exile for a very, very long time. And after many, many years being in a foreign land, in a foreign country, and not on the level of way he is as a son of a king, as a prince, nobody knew who he was, and nobody allowed him back into the palace. And he was trying to get in, he couldn't. So he finally gets away into the palace, and he didn't even remember the language, how to talk to his father. But he wanted to express himself. His father's right there. What does he do? So he started to cry. And he says, Father, Father. The king, didn't necessarily understand what he was saying, but he recognized him from his voice. He recognized his son from his voice, and this took him. He felt it, and he kind of brought him back. So to the souls of the Jewish people descended from heaven. They were sent to somewhat, to sort of to speak on a spiritual level, into exile. They end up in a different world, in a foreign place, inside a body that has its own wills and wants and desires and ideas and language and attractions. And what happens is, when it comes to holiday of Rosh Hashanah, there is an inner cry. There's an inner cry that the soul is reaching out to God, to Hashem. Asking our Father in heaven, Father, Father, save us. This is the theme. This is the message. This is the expression of the shofar, of the sounding of the shofar. This is the cry of the heart of the Jewish soul calling out to Hashem that we want to come closer, we want to come home, we want to be in a place in an environment that we recognize holiness. So in Hasidic teachings, it's explained that the main point of this idea of the call, of the cry, is not what you say. Everybody could say something else. One could say, Father, save me. One could say, Father, bring me home. One could say, Father, I'm lost. One could say, Father, I'm scared. You could say the same thing in different words. So it's not necessarily the actual text of what you're saying, but it's the feeling, it's the expression that there is. Every single Jew on a soul level, we're calling out to Hashem. We're all reaching out to God in heaven. We're all, some of it, it's a loud cry, some of it, it's a silent cry, but nonetheless, it's a cry. This comes into expression through the sounding of the shofar. When we hear the shofar, we are in the shul, we are taking notes, we're present at the shofar, sounding of the shofar. This is our time that we are expressing ourselves on a spiritual level. Now, there's a blessing that we say in the davening. When we mention the theme of shofar, we say, Baruch Ata Hashem, blessed are you God, Shomea Kol Truas Amo Yisrael. You hear the sounding of the Jewish people, your nation, Berachamim, with great mercy. We make Hashem's name. We all say it, every single one of us. We say this in the davening. Now, there is a general rule that you do not make a blessing if you're not sure if you need the blessing or not, or if you're not sure there's actually an effect for the blessing to happen. So here, if we're making the blessing, means we're guaranteed that Hashem is actually listening to our shofar, and He's actually being awakened and having this feeling of mercy. So in a sense, we're guaranteed that the shofar works. that when there is a sound in the shofar, which automatically makes us feel the way we feel, automatically that by Hashem brings about upon him an abundance of mercy towards the Jewish people. As the great Hasidic master Rabbi Levi Yitzchak Barditchev says, a parable. There was once a child that wanted an apple. His father had the apple. The father told him, I'm not giving it to you, for whatever reason. The child said, oh, what do you mean? Hey, I need the apple. I want the apple. So how's he going to get it out of his father? So the child was a smart kid. He started to make a blessing on the apple. Baruch atah Hashem, Elokeinu melech haolam borei pri eitz. Oh boy, he made a bracha. He's got to eat something now. So the father had to give him an apple, at least a piece of the apple. I had to give him, right? So the same thing here. If we're making the blessing, so the Hashem doesn't want us that the blessing should be in vain. And if a father gives to his son, for sure God is giving for every single person. So Hashem should help. We should be inspired to try to connect to the sound, the message, the expression of the shofar, and we are guaranteed that Hashem will listen to us with great mercy, and we will all be blessed for a year of happiness, health, gesund, parnasa, nachas, and whatever we need, Hashem should fulfill to the good. B'karev mamish. Amen.